Welcome to Manifesting Through Motherhood. I'm your host, Lindsay Williams, a self-development mentor, entrepreneur and author, dedicated to helping busy mums like you manifest success, balance and create passive income on your terms. With years of experience in mindset, manifestation, fitness, parenting and business growth, I share simple yet powerful strategies to help you transform your life without the overwhelm. If you're ready to up-level your mindset, build a thriving business and create the life you truly deserve, you're in the right place. You can also find all my books on Amazon, packed with tools to help you manifest and grow. So don't forget to follow the podcast to be updated on all new episodes. And let's get going. So let me ask you a question. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you an overwhelmed mum? How would you recognise it? And what would you do about it? We've approached January now, and a lot of people are probably feeling overwhelmed because we've just come out of Christmas. You might be in a little bit of debt. You might be feeling the pressures of reaching your goals. And I know people are putting online when you are growing a business that pressures of other people, like I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And I get like that because I have my to-do list, but since my nan passed, I've been feeling more that I want to nurture me a little bit more. So I've been switching my mind off a little bit to certain situations. And I've just been nurturing me, not overthinking a lot of different things that are going on. I think we can put ourselves in to help a lot of people. But sometimes we have to be selfish. We have to look after us. And what does mum overwhelm really look like? And the less obvious signs are irritability, constant fatigue and difficulty focusing. Because we can get irritable, we can get snappy, and we don't always want to admit to our partners or to our children that enough's enough. You might be getting irritable at work because of your home situation. You don't know what's going on at home. People might be going through divorce, separation, financial trouble. So it can be overwhelming. You might have gone back to work and everything is on top of you. You've got so many pressures. Your employer might give you lots of things to do, and it can be too much. I mean, I always think about people that work in certain industries that have to wait till after the children are finished, and then they have to rush and go to school clubs. We've all been there where we've had to rush around and go to, even me working, even though I've been self-employed, my partner isn't. You have to work together if you are in a couple, but when you're on your own, I think it's so much easier to fall into the overwhelm. You just feel tired because you're neglecting your health, you're not eating properly, not exercising, you're sleeping bad, you might be procrastinating, you might be on your phone at night, you might be doing work at night, getting the children to bed. If you're a teacher, I do know a lot of teachers that say, especially if they've had new babies, that, how am I meant to do lesson plans at night? I just don't understand why being a teacher, you have to do all this work at night. I think it's a lot better now where you can have time, during the day. But I remember when I dabbled in a little bit of teaching, what put me off about teaching was the paperwork. You don't have to, you work all day at work and then you go at night. I know at night, people up to like 10 o'clock doing lesson plans, it's just really tough. So, you could work night shift, you might be working in hospitals, clinics, and some jobs require you to work obscure hours. They're not just easy hours where they're not all like 9:30 till 2:30 where you can go and pick the children up. That's probably only a percentage of people that are working that can do that. You might be overwhelmed because you want to work and you can't because your wage isn't going to cover childcare, or your employee isn't going to let you pick your children up. You might be in a happy job and you might not be able to go back to that job. So overwhelm can look so differently, to different people. And then you've got to look at the emotional cues. They're feeling guilty, feeling like you're failing and unable to keep up. You might be overwhelmed with your friends. You might have perfect friends that seem perfect to you, that are doing everything right. You just can't keep up because, like again, they might only have one children. They might have family support. They might be in a better financial position than you. Everybody's different. You've just got to say no. So what I say to people is you've got to start cutting back, writing everything down you're not happy with, What do you want to change? What needs to change? Because if it doesn't change, this is when overwhelm will just get worse and worse, and then you will have a mental breakdown. I see this happening so much. You end up having to quit your job. It can, ruin your relationships. You can be snappy and lose friends. Your work performance can change. And then you start obviously getting your headaches, insomnia, dis-ease starts in your body. You get back pain is a big sign, and gut health, because everything's triggered, everything is in your body is not working right. Our bodies can't cope with the cortisol. They cannot cope with that stress just rushing through our bodies daily. And this is why we have to practice mindfulness, just to be able to cope and manage and just have a minute to yourself. Because when we're have you ever been in that situation where you've got this, you've got to go there, and you've got to go in, and you realise that you've used all your energy spoons, you're doing too much, and you've put yourself in a really bad danger zone. I have days where I just feel like time's running out, I'm chasing my tail, but then I think, no, what I need to do tonight, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to watch TV, I'm going to chill, I'm going to get a foot pack on. So as long as you've got strategies, you've got things that you can just grab, even if you've got to have a nana nap, 15, 20 minutes in the afternoon, if you're feeling a little stressed with a tension headache, go and put ice on your head, like an ice pack, go have a herbal tea, just lie back and have a minute. Get off your phone, have no music. If you don't want, just have a minute. Set your alarm for 15, 20 minutes, and you might not sleep, but you'll feel like a different person when you've woken up. I've done this before when I've had a headache and I've maybe been dehydrated and I'm doing too much work. So I've come in the living room. It's not very often that I would do that. I would lie on the sofa and I'd lie back for 20, say if it's 2:30 and then I've got to go to school, run at 3. And I think, I could just do the washing. I could just do to this, could just do to do that. But I think, no, I'm just going to have to lie down because it's my emotional health I've got to look after. My heart, I get palpitations if I'm doing too much. So you start to worry about health anxiety. So we can't win as parents because we do too much. We've got to remember, we're not just looking after us, we could be looking after our partner, we could be caring for somebody, but we're also taking care of our children. And they're another human being. How is it possible to do that on your own? And my mum did that with me. She brought me up on her own. I don't know how she did it. And I don't know it because I've always been with my partner. So I have that extra person that I can say, can you do the school one? Can you do that? Doesn't mean I'm not going to get an overwhelm, but I have got somebody that I can rely on. And I've also got my mum and dad to rely on, which I did this morning. I had a smear booked in. I wanted my mum and dad to take my son to school so my husband can take me just in case there's no parking. But there was parking, so because I manifested, please not be busy, please not be stressful traffic, please be a parking space, and there was. And I got in and there were nobody hardly in the waiting room and I felt relaxed. And my husband said, we're early. I said, you don't understand. I said, you would just go out last minute. I want to relax and just have my brew. I took a brew with me. I always make sure I take a brew or some water. I said, I need to decompress in the morning. And I don't care if I'm sat in a waiting room for 20 minutes. That's my chill time, just watching the TV, looking at my phone, just talking to somebody. I just like that time. So sometimes we don't get adult time. We don't get time to talk to other people. So sometimes you might need that. And I think that's when we need to start looking at going to exercise classes. We need to look at meditation, things that you can do at home. Because the exercise will help the overwhelm because it'll just give us some mental clarity. But we need to spot the red flags by identifying patterns of burnout before they spiral and recognising the moments that push you past your limits. Because if you're doing endless to-do lists and you're having lack of alone time, then you're doing too much. You've got to give. I say this to a friend who listens to the podcast. I'm shattered listening to her day. I'm like, when do you just, I don't know, a time when she just comes home and she watches the TV and just relaxes. She said she does, but I know she doesn't. And I said, you're going to make yourself more ill. You need to cancel what you're doing. And even though you've got children's clubs at night, and I do say to her sometimes, just cancel. Do you know what? This week, say to your children, I'm sorry guys, this week, I'm not going football, I'm not going dancing, I'm not going scouts, I'm not doing it. That's it. Because if your partner's not going to do it, why should you do it? And I know it's not letting your children down at all. But if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. You sometimes just need a week off. There's nothing wrong with that. Or have a night off, something, and like do a compromise with your children and say, do you really, can you just give that a miss tonight? Because the weather might be bad, so that's like added extra stress as well. So we can say no, and we can do things to eliminate this burnout in our heads, because our heads start to I get like tension in my neck, and then my fibromyalgia kicks off then, and we don't want that. And the silent struggles of mum overwhelm is the invisible mental load of keeping everyone's life running smoothly. And I think we like to just be in charge. Like my husband says, you like to be in control, you like to be in charge. And I say, well, I always do this. And he's like, but you like to do it, you don't let me get involved. And I think it's easy for us to do it. I always say that, if you want a job doing, do it yourself. But we need to let go sometimes, because we can be a bit controlling as mums. I feel like I am. I'm always giving out barking orders. Can you do this? Can you do that? Because it's just something that like we're used to doing. But it's good that we lighten the load or ask somebody else. And this is why outsourcing is really good. And we do feel under pressure sometimes to keep our struggles hidden. But we need to start opening up and finding friends. And I can't imagine we've not got a friend that isn't going through overwhelm or going to support groups. And when you go to exercise classes, you'll always speak to somebody who will open up. Even if you go get your hair done, you're in the hairdressers, you can speak to your hairdressers like a therapy session, or go for a pedicure. Somewhere where you can speak to someone in a really nice, holistic environment, because sometimes we just need somebody to listen. And all it takes is an hour sometimes for somebody to speak and listen. And then you can actually think, you know what? And sometimes we can actually observe other people's lives and think, our lives aren't as bad, like they are non-stop overwhelmed. And sometimes we can actually say, well, actually, I can just tweak what I'm doing and I can make small changes to my life. And when we look at overwhelm versus burnout, we need to understand the difference and why addressing overwhelm early can help prevent long-term burnout. Because once we're in long-term burnout, it's really hard, and then it starts to affect our health and then our mental health, and that's when it's got too far. So the overwhelm could just be once a week, or you could be experiencing a couple of times a week where I'm feeling overwhelmed today. And it's usually working mums, I would say, that you can get a lot of when you're going to work and you're getting pressured at work. If you have to go and work for somebody, say if you've got a dentist appointment and you've got any appointment, and your children's have got appointments, and then you've got to ask your employer for time off, it's really hard. I remember when I worked before I had my son many years ago, and I remember I just want to go to an appointment and you just can't take time off. And I mean, it's different now, you get appointments on Saturdays and employees have to let you have time off. But now I just dedicate my week. So I've only gone back properly full on working this week. I did a bit of work last week, a little bit of work the week before, but I'm crazy busy this week, which is fine, but my shoulders are feeling it. I've only been, I had a busy day yesterday. I went for my SME this morning, so I give myself some time out, had some breakfast with my husband. We had a bit of time because he doesn't work in the week now. And then I'm working for the afternoon, and then we pick our son up at 5 o'clock, and then we'll have tea, and then I'm going to chill. I'm going to relax, because there's things that I need to do. But I need to re-record 2 of my courses and put them on my new system. I'm going through grief and going through what I'm going through. I'm not going to throw myself into overwhelm, because when there's days when I'm thinking about my nan and I've got little triggers, I don't want to set them off. So I need to be mindful that I don't go into overwhelm. And life's too short to feel like this. So you've got to think, if this situation if it's life-threatening, then we have to get something done. But if it's not, it's majority of the time something that we need to do is not life-threatening. So you might have to change your working days, you might have to change your cleaning days, your shopping days. I know somebody has the same pattern every week and goes shopping every Friday night. I said they only get it 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, why? Why don't you just get up in the morning and do it early, or do it midweek, freeze some food? That's your Friday night gone. We have to do it like this. I'm like, yeah, but the children have finished and you have to drag around the supermarket. I don't get that when people tell me certain situations, and I think, but you can tell you're overwhelmed because you're stressed, you're kicking off with the children in the supermarket. It's not a nice experience. If something's not a nice experience, then you're overwhelmed and you're fed up. The ways that, obviously, being a health, expert is, and fitness is, exercise is a really good tool. So, start doing some exercise, get out there in fresh air, start, do something for you, and then journal. A self checklist will be good for yourself that can help identify like triggers, because we don't want people's opinions that are unhelpful. We don't want the emotional load. We need to make sure we're getting enough rest. And perfectionism, we are perfectionists, we all are, and we look at other people. I get a little bit past it now, but we're all, intrinsically do mark ourselves on what other people are doing, and they look like they've got themselves together and I haven't, because it's just a natural reaction to being a parent. So do ask for help, do speak to somebody, don't be, try not to be a martyr and try and do everything. Try and seek help, and if it's still too much, then I would definitely recommend, going to your doctors, going to some self-help groups, go online. There's so many coaches like myself, that podcasts. It's all there. Journaling, exercise, good food, habit stacking is one way to start raising your vibrations, because once you start implementing positive strategies into your week, then you become less overwhelmed, because you start to tackle different parts of your life, and they'll all be different. But if your health's not good and you're feeling really overwhelmed with your health, then it's about time you start taking control of one part of your life, and then just work on each section. That might be your money. You might be overwhelmed with money, so sometimes we need outside professional help to help us with debt. Can we sell anything? Can we declutter? Can we utilise our things in our house? We can. We just buy things. We don't need the things that we need sometimes, but we can't help ourselves because we are parents. We hoard things. We think we need things. See if anyone wants to swap anything at school. There's always something. We've got social media to ask around and ask for help. Don't be afraid of asking for help. Otherwise, we're just going to feel ill. We'll end up just coming off social media. We'll end up losing friendships. And our children end up hating on us because we are become nagging parents, and we don't want that. So let me know if you are feeling at all burnt out, or you've reached that stage now where you've had to go and get professional help. There's nothing wrong with that. You can take one month, 2 months, and we can move things around. I've been there, and I've seen it with friends as well. So anyway, I'm going to leave that there, and I will speak to you on the next podcast. Bye for now.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you feel inspired to take action and manifest the life you deserve. Don't forget to come and join me over on social media and Instagram at Busy Mums Fitness Corner for more tips, motivation and behind the scenes. And also be sure to check out my books on Amazon. They're designed to help you manifest your dreams and grow. And if you're ready to take the next step and work with me, you can head over to my Linktree for all the details. Let's make magic happen together. So until next time, keep manifesting and stay amazing.